Hi everyone, I'm Alon Mizrahi. Welcome to the Mizrahi Perspective. There are two major elements to our twilight zone reality. We have Israel's evil, Israel and American, open evil, and other Western allies. Open evil and wickedness that is hard to conceptualize, accept, and understand as normal human beings. This is the kind of evil we are used to see in scary movies and novels and historical accounts. This is not something we ever expected to see for so long, sustained. We never expected to see it in our everyday reality, but here we are. It is part of our everyday reality. And we talk about this and try to process this a lot. But the other part of our twilight zone reality, which is what it is because we are so dissociated, we are so overwhelmed, we are so lost. The other element is the sense of paralysis in Western societies, especially in the US. So I want to talk a little bit about this paralysis. I want to describe it and I want to say what I think are the causes for this paralysis. So let's describe it first. What we're seeing, and I'm going to try and be as authentic and truthful and honest as I can be because this is the way I do stuff. I never tried to paint rosy pictures for anyone. Okay? I don't tailor my messages to sound nice and palatable to this demographic or another demographic. This isn't something I do. This never made me very popular in certain groups and demographics and or political inclinations, but this is who I am and this is what I do. And this is what I believe we should all be doing, because without a truthful description of reality, you cannot act effectively, you cannot be at peace, you cannot do anything meaningful. If you don't see reality, if you don't call it by its name and describe what you see truthfully, you can't do anything. You can't be taken seriously. You can't. So this is not what I'm going to do here. I'm going to be as honest as I can. What we're seeing in Western societies, particularly the US, is not only what I can describe as duplicitous complicity on the part of the Democratic Party and liberals and the media and so on. All those forces that for so many years have built a reputation around them being morally superior to other political groups and other parties and so on. And this is shocking in itself. This is enough to destabilize you. Because when the force that you believe is going to do something for good, because this is what you learn to expect from them, when they do nothing and they actually contribute to evil and defend evil, this is enough to destabilize and shock you. When the American media and American universities and the Democratic Party and all its trillion people, organizations and institutions and platforms, when they organize as one to support evil, this is enough to destabilize and shock you. This is a shock in itself. But if we go beyond this, I mean, the Democratic Party, the machine, the political machine, and the media machine It is just a small group of people. It is, I don't know how many people. I don't know to put a number on it. It's a small group of people. The great majority of Americans do not belong to any of those machines. They don't work in the media. They don't have tenure in any Ivy League university, and so on. They are not part of the system. They are just ordinary people. But we are seeing no actual resistance to what the US is doing in cahoots with Israel. We are seeing no resistance. What we are seeing is millions and millions and millions and millions of people who should know better and who do know better because we know them. We see this group of people numbering in the many, many millions, tens of millions, maybe more than 100 million people. Say and do nothing to stop the live stream murder of children for 17 months. They say and do nothing. We see this in other Western societies as well. We see this in the UK, in France, in Germany, almost in any country. We see this in Arab countries as well. And Arab countries are an interesting case because while the populations belong culturally, religiously, historically to the global south, the leadership is captured and handled by Western powers. So they are split. They are split. But Arab populations too have caught this plague, this paralysis. And most of them say nothing, do nothing. Say nothing, do nothing. They cannot say they didn't see, they didn't hear, like the three monkeys. It is impossible in our social media reality. It is impossible. So everyone sees and hears what we see and hear every day from Gaza, but say nothing and do nothing. And I have a look at things. I look at things from a philosophical point of view, from a novelist point of view. This is the point of view I have acquired reading 1 trillion books as a kid, because this is what I loved most to do as a kid. I was a bookworm, reading hundreds of books every year for many years. So I look at this reality and I'm trying to understand what we can learn from it about human nature, about political society, about Western civilization. These are very interesting questions to me, and we need to look at them at real time. So we see maybe for the first time in our lives. I mean, remember 20 years ago when the US decided to invade Iraq and Afghanistan, there were huge demonstrations in the US and in Europe. People took to the streets in the millions. Huge demonstrations. It didn't happen. The West did go and pursue those colonial wars of annihilation, of civilizational competitors, because this is what Muslim civilization is. It is civilization competitor of the Christian West. And this is what they were doing, destroying the competition, making sure the competition never succeeds. And they go on, they have been going on and destroying every successful, every attempt at liberation, democratization, development in the Muslim and Arab world and Africa and everywhere, basically. This is how the West operates. It destroys competition. Nevertheless, we saw huge demonstrations, but we don't see them anymore. And this is a crucial point. And I still can't believe this fact, but it is a fact. We haven't seen one major demonstration in the US in over a year and a half of open genocide. We haven't seen 1 million or 2 million or 3 million Americans gathering in one place to protest a genocide their country was directly involved in, directly sustaining, directly defending at the UN Security Council and everywhere, using every platform. What we also see or didn't see is dissent in cultural circles. Okay, in because there are many layers to a political society. There are small time celebrities and big time celebrities and small time politicians and big time politicians. There's the judiciary system, the education system, the medical establishment, so on, so many establishments, so many aspects of a political society. And in none of those have we seen resistance, serious resistance and pushback. We have seen nothing. What we have seen is total normative collapse. Total normative collapse. This is not a malfunction. Okay, this is not a temporary breakdown. This is systemic collapse. This tells me the very human psyche in American society, in Western societies, has collapsed. Because people who have control of their senses, people who are present in reality, say something and do something when someone is murdering children next to them. It can't be otherwise. This is normalcy. This is normal human behavior. This is people who actually exist and operate in reality behave this way. Period. What we have seen is a whole civilization abdicating its human soul, its human responsibility, its normal psyche. They have lost their minds. They are not in control. They don't have their wits. The whole of American society, it's not just this demographic, that party, that social, it's the entirety of American society lost its mind. Just like the entirety of Israeli society lost its mind. It is not one part of society, it's the whole of society. It's the whole of society. It's all of it. It's everyone. No one quit their job over the genocide. How can this be? How can this be? How can it be? Explain it to me. When your institution, when your work, when the place you go to work every day, either murders children directly or supports the murder of children directly, you just go to work normally every day? When your institution in an American university is forced to support genocide, you go to work normally. What's wrong with people? Well, I know what's wrong with them. They have lost their sanity, they have lost their humanity. And this is what it is. We shouldn't mince words. When you allow someone to mass exterminate children when you know it's happening, when you know you can't deny it, there's no deniability. They know it, but they say nothing and they do nothing. So Western society has become paralyzed. It is morally, psychologically, emotionally paralyzed. It is in a wheelchair. It doesn't know it. It thinks and pretends it can do other stuff, but not. It's not the case. We have to repeat this and see it for what it is, for ourselves, for this moment, and but also for history. Because people are going to look back at this period in time and try to understand it. And we should be helping them. So, no resistance and no pushback. Zero. Zero. The protests and demonstrations that we do see, this is going to lead to the next step in this talk. The demonstrations and protests that we do see, and this is going to hurt a lot of people, but I don't care. I care about Gaza's children. I don't care about you. The protests that we have seen are purely performative. Purely performative. No class has been disrupted, not one. Not one class. People took a hall for a few hours and then gave it back. And when they were forced out, they didn't stay out. They came back and attended the classes and continued. Life on campus continued as usual. Once the small disruption was cleared out. And maybe my saying no class was disrupted is not correct, so I'm taking it back. Yes, a few classes have been disrupted, but that's it. The campus life has not been disrupted, has not been stopped. No city street has been disrupted. No city street has been occupied. Washington, D.C. has not been occupied by millions of people as it should have been. And it would have stopped this, and it would have stopped fascism. If 2 million Americans came to Washington, D.C., and said, "We are not going back home until you stop supporting the genocide, we are not going back home." This is it. This is civil war. This is civil disobedience. It would have forced the US to contend with what it's doing, to come to grips with what it's doing, to have a debate about it. But because no force was displayed, such a debate is not necessary. No one's having it. There's no debate. There's only fake debate. And when I see Americans on my Instagram feed telling each other facts, sharing with each other facts, 26,000 unaccompanied children, 40,000 people held in a Miami detention center, and so on and so on and so on. More and more facts. And quotes from political scientists, from experts on fascism, more and more quotes. And they don't get that the way they resist replicates and enhances the power structure that brought us here, that is America. Because it is the search for authority, the expert, looking for an expert to tell you what reality is. You need an expert to tell you that murdering children is fucking not okay. You need an expert for this. You need quotes from experts on fascism to tell you what's going on in the US is inherently, fundamentally fucked up. You need an expert for this. You need quotes for this. You need to share facts with each other all the time, all day. But what does this mean? Where does it lead? It is paralysis masquerading as action. This is what it is. This is the conformity and obedience of Western society masquerading as political action. Again and again and again, they describe bits and pieces of reality, but without any and then and so. What do you do now? Why do you allow this to go on? How do you stop it? How do you stop it today? There are millions and millions of people in the US who have the ability to stop it, have the means and the time and the knowledge to stop it, but they do nothing. They are in paralysis. What we are seeing is a Western society. This is sickening. This is truly sickening. That sanctifies following orders more than anything else. This is like the Adolf Eichmann defense. I was following orders. I didn't initiate the mass murder of people. This was policy, and I was following policy. And this is America. This is America today. This is all Americans can do. Follow orders. Obey authority, no matter what it tells them to do. And I want to tell you now something very harsh, and I mean every word of it. The liberals and Democrats and all the fake left wingers, if the state tells them to kill their own children, they will kill their own children, send them to die, or kill them themselves. And the next day, they will go on podcasts and CNN and explain to you why you have to vote Democrat. The next day. This kind of paralysis means that no one cares about anything. And we can't be deluded about it. No one cares about anything. If American police start rounding up students, American students, and beat them up and shoot them in the head, no one is going to get fired. No one is going to get fired. Donald Trump is going to invite the head of that police force to the White House the next day and have a press conference with him, because it's going to be a him, naturally. It is not indifference. Americans have become political vegetables. They are in coma. But what causes this? What has caused this? What brought us to this low point? What caused this? Well, there are all the things we know. I mean, there's a legacy of Western colonialism and violence. This looks natural to people. This is what we do. It's not unusual. It may be a little harsh for a minute or two, but then it passes. So it's no big deal. This is what we do. We bomb people, we occupy them, we lock up demonstrators. This is what we do. This is normal, everyday American behavior. This is what we are. So there's this. And there's, of course, white supremacy, which doesn't allow individuals. I don't speak, I'm not talking about on the cultural level. It doesn't allow individuals to feel empathy for people who are brown or black or Asian. They can't. They are psychologically blocked from feeling something for people who have darker skin or a different religion. They have been programmed this way. Millions, hundreds of millions of Americans. This is how they feel. This is how terrible white Western supremacist colonialism is. This is the kind of people it produces. People who are unable to feel empathy for people with a different skin color. And another element of this is mainstream media and mainstream entertainment, which have made people actually retarded. I'm not exaggerating. There are studies about this. People are getting stupider, actually stupider. Their IQ is decreasing of humanity. I think it's definitely more pronounced in Western societies. People have become used to experiencing life as consumers of so quote unquote content, which is political programming and emotional desensitizing. And so this makes them actual vegetables. They sit and watch stuff like this for hours in total passivity. Consume and consume and consume and consume and consume endless hours upon hours every day. It's no wonder they become vegetables. This is the intended result of this. And this will happen to every society that embraces this kind of culture and entertainment. This is what's going to happen. People are going to become dehumanized, depoliticized. They will have no moral center, no moral backbone, no ability to think politically or feel politically for other people. Because this is about emotion, first of all. This is not intellectual work. Being political is not intellectual. It means your heart is open and you can feel the pain and misery and suffering and stories of other people. This is all this is. It is not intellectual one bit. You can develop it intellectually, but the basis of it is emotional. But when people are bombarded with stupidity every day and every night, and they participate in this, I can't say willingly because they don't have a will or a free will, but they participate in it. They consume and consume and consume. And this is the point of view they develop. Their perspective on life becomes the size of their screen. This is all they can see, and they don't care what's outside the screen. This has devastating impacts not only on your physical health, but also on your mental health, on your ability to function as a normal human. This is being denied, and Americans are addicted to this shit. This is all they do. This is all they talk about. And another element of this is the hollowness, the emptiness. I talked about it in my previous video of the colonizer psyche, of the fake identity of colonizer societies. Because people feel, we feel the lies that are being told to us. We feel them. Even if we can't recognize them, our heart feels it. Even if our mind doesn't have the vocabulary, we suspect something is amiss. And Americans feel the lie, but they escape to the easy solutions that culture provides them with. The entertainment, the network, the gaming, the pornography, all this destructive, insane idiocy that kills the individual and kills society. But the fact that there is no clear, immediate, crisp, relatable American identity, American history, American background, they are left with nothing. And when you have this kind of political identity, it is very hard to maintain your humanity. We need to have a kind of political culture that allows people to be people and doesn't like drink away all the humanity and forces an artificial model on them that will kill this humanity. But adding to this list, and maybe the most important one, I don't know if it's the most important one, but I think it's crucial. What we're seeing today in Western societies, and especially in American society, is the results of the capitalist experiment. This is what capitalism does to human societies. It makes them politically paralyzed. And this is the big point of this talk. Capitalism was never, and this is a mistake left wingers do. This is a mistake socialists do. Capitalism was never an economic system. It is a political system. It is a psychological system. This is its main purpose. The main purpose of capitalism is to organize people psychologically, communally, politically, in a way that will convince them that the only thing that has value in life is money. The only thing that represents value is money. This makes them incapable of assigning value to things that don't have a financial value, like the children of other people. What's it to you? How does it affect your bottom line when your neighbor's children are being murdered? Why should you care? Why should you care about your own children? In capitalism, why should you care about your own children? We are seeing this as well. The fact that so many kids are anxious, having all kinds of problems, it is because they feel unloved. They feel, and they are correct, that they live in a society that values something else more than them. They feel that their well-being is secondary to the careers of their parents, to the bottom lines of their country or state or city or whatever. They feel it. This is how they rebel. They break. They can't function because they are still normal at this young age. This is what capitalism does to the human soul. This is what it does to society. It reduces people, it shrinks them, it makes them small. There is never incentive. There is never an incentive to doing something good for someone else. Never. Unless you can post it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever and get like social credit for it. There's never incentive to be decent. On the contrary, the system tells you to be indecent, to deceive and cheat other people and do whatever to get rich because this is the only thing that counts. How much money you have. This is the only thing that counts. So when this is your value structure, and when you're constantly bombarded with this stupid and dehumanizing form of entertainment, and when you have this fake identity, fake colonial identity, and when you have this history of violence and occupation and genocide, what else are you going to have than the American society we see today? What else are you going to have? Of course, you're going to get this. What did you expect? And this is not going to change. This is my conclusion. This is not going to change. This is only going to get worse. This is the beginning of the crumble of Western society. This is the beginning. This is not the end. Because look at how they cope with this situation. They have economic problems, they have social problems, they have all kinds of problems that relate to their citizens, to humans, infrastructure, so many different problems. And any normal society faced with these problems would cut off first any military spending and realize it can't afford any military adventures. This is the first thing you cut because you have to feed the children, you have to take care of the elderly, you have to give people normal medical care, you have to have normal infrastructure, all the things you have to have for society to function. A huge military is a luxury. And who is threatening the US and Europe anyway? Just look at this is entirely fantastical thinking and paranoia. Who is threatening France and the UK? And Germany? Why are they spending trillions now on military equipment and building back their armies? Who is threatening the US? Who is about to invade the US or occupy the US? Why is it going crazy like this? Why is it spending all its money on military equipment? It makes no sense. It is because it's lost its mind. It can't think straight. And I'm telling you, the reason I left Israel is not only because I hated the genocide so much. I hated the occupation years before that. I hated it with all my being. I have seen so many videos before this genocide. I had seen so many videos of children being shot and demonstrators and women and people with special needs, all that horrible, horrible, horrible stuff, day and night before the genocide. I realized at a certain point I was willing to accept because I had known it for years before that there was no opposition in Israel, there was no dissent. You can fight any evil if you have strong dissent with conviction. with intention, with purpose. You can fight a lot of evil if you have that. But if you don't have that, you can't do anything. You can't achieve nothing. And this is where the West is at right now. It has no dissent and no opposition. It has some symbolic here and there. It means nothing. It can't move the needle on anything. And this downward spiral is only going to accelerate because the financial crisis, the economic crisis, hasn't hit yet, but it's going to hit. The stock market bubble is going to pop. There's no stopping it. And what happens then? All these totalitarian instincts that we have seen enacted and acted upon are going to be 10 times worse, 100 times worse. It's not going to be just illegal immigrants in detention centers. It's going to be American citizens. I promise you this. And no one is going to protest. No one is going to do something meaningful to stop it. No one. No one. I'm telling you, no one. No one. Even the parents whose children are going to be shot and brutalized and arrested and disappeared by police are going to do nothing. This is the level of paralysis. This is the level of conformity and hollowness of American society. And this is where it's going. And people in the global south should look at it and learn from it. Because humanity is going to survive Western civilization, this fake monster of a civilization that only wants to murder and steal and take over. Greenland, Canada, more land, more resources. Insanity. Insanity. Humanity is going to survive this. What humanity must never do is repeat the mistakes made by these stupid monstrous civilizations. This is what the lessons we need to learn. And if you live in the US and you have the possibility exists for you, and you can do it, and you want a better future for yourself or your kids or your grandkids, pack your bags and leave. Pack your bags and leave. There's no hope for you there. I'm being so serious and honest about this. This is a hopeless, hopeless society. It's not going anywhere good. All its healthy and normal instincts are dead. People should be focused on their own survival as individuals, as a community in the US or somewhere else. This should be your focus. Don't waste time and energy trying to fix this. We are not going to fix this. I'm telling you, as a survivor of another stupid mini civilization called Israel, no one's going to be able to save it. It is all nonsense. In fact, the people who still sell you hope about being able to save either Israel or the US are your most dangerous enemies. They are the ones burying good people in this terrible, immoral, twilight zone model and reality.